Welcome to the Hold All Tickets World Pool Preview Show in collaboration with the Hong Kong jockey club Bet with the World. I'm your host, James Lamb, and I'm joined by Adam Brett, fresh off an overseas adventure. Adam, how are we feeling?
Not too bad, mate. I was a little bit tired when I came back, a couple of days, but back into it now and feeling fresh.
And a good time in Hong Kong?
Amazing. I mean, Hong Kong Jockey Club put on such a good show over there. Hospitality was great. Great racing at Happy Valley on the Wednesday and then finished it off with Sha Tin on the Sunday for Champs Day.
There's few better race meetings to attend than Happy Valley on that Wednesday night.
I'm amazed.
Outrageously good.
30,000 people turn up. It is a good vibe. You sit out there in general admission and enjoy the food and the beer and the racing, of course.
Yep, good time had by all. We'll be casting our eyes over races 6 through to 8 at Morphettville, which are World Pool races, headlined by the Group 1 South Australian Derby. We'll also have a look at the 2,000 guineas at Newmarket in the UK on Saturday night, Sunday morning our time. Reminder that betting into the World Pool provides better opportunities due to larger pools and potentially higher odds. We'll start with Morphettville, kicking off with race 6, the listed Port Adelaide Cup. Just having a look at the speed map here, I think Sir Kingsford loves to lead in his races. He's drawn the outside gate, but I'd imagine it'll be handlebars down from out there to get across and take up the running. Silent Sorrente also likely to come over from a wideish barrier to look for a spot in the first 4. Those drawn closest to the inside rail generally take a few strides to find their feet. So the main speed looks to be out wide in this. Adam, who have you got as your top tip in the Port Adelaide Cup?
I've gone for a very well-named Girls, number 11. I like horses that have run the distance. This one's actually the only one that's coming back down in distance and fought on really well to steal a win against Amaretta last start at Morphettville. The only question I've got is the late speed, but it's shown speed when needed. So, and it was scratched out in Warrnambool today. So I think they've got the trainer's got some high confidence going into this one. So Girls is my tip.
Yes, I'm going a different way. I'm going with Sir Kingsford. As I mentioned with the speed map, I can't see any issues getting across from the wide gate. Vorum should be able to dictate the pace once she gets there. Won his last couple over 1950 and 2150. Comes into this 4th up. Should be close to his peak fitness-wise. Extra trip is a query because he finished down the track in his only previous go over 2,500, but he had 60.5 that day. He has 54 kilos in this, so big drop in weight there. The toppy for me looks the main danger, Silent Sorrente. She's another one who'll be right up on the speed. So I am predicting that the tempo will be pretty slow by the time they sort of settle into their positions. I can see those two horses firm in the market really sort of dictating the tempo to suit. She won the Group 2 Adelaide Cup 2 starts ago, so this is a fair step down from that. So Sir Kingsford for me and Girls for you. Typical. Race 7, listed Adelaide Guineas, 1,600 metres. Again, we'll go with the speed map. Not a heap of speed drawn down on the fence once again. I'm expecting Harumph. I don't know what is going on with that name.
At least you got that pronunciation right.
I don't know the backstory there, but I think that horse will be sent forward from wide out. Sunday Georgie and Don't Miss Many look the other on paces. The early favourite on display probably goes back for a bit of cover from that draw. Are you confident of steering this into a winner here?
I am. I did have a good look at Harumph and say that 10 times fast. But I'm backing the Hayes boys here with Sneaky Sunrise. I think that it'll run a pretty strong race. It had misfire back at Moonee Valley, 2 runs back, but everything else has been pretty solid. So I'm backing Sneaky Sunrise. After the Hayes boys went to Hong Kong and had a little bit of disappointment, Mr. Brightside, I'm expecting to bounce back here.
Yep. I did have a pretty strong opinion of Sneaky Sunrise, but it has just got the wobbles a little bit late. But yeah, if it returned to its best form, probably the horse to beat. But I've just gone with one and a bit of odds here in Didn't Miss Many. It was beaten as an odds-on favourite at Caulfield last start, and sadly I was on. But it was a bit of a funny run. Just seemed to coast along in front, and then didn't offer much when asked to quicken. It wasn't until the last 50 metres or so that he actually knuckled down and put his mind on the job. So I'm hoping with the winkers going on for the first time, it might just sharpen him up a little bit more because there's definitely ability there. He strung a couple on end last preparation. The danger, Sneaky Sunrise is definitely a danger, but one at even bigger odds than the one I'm tipping, Estenay. She was impressive winning at Flemington on Anzac Day, and she just looks like she'll absolutely eat up 1,600 metres. So little bit of value there in my two selections.
Well, it's funny. I actually had that for the trifecta.
Yeah, nice.
So, take Sneaky Sunrise one out, but certainly backing the other two in for the trifecta.
That is a trifecta that would pay well on the World Pool. Race 8, Group 1 South Australian Derby. It's a tough race to map with 3-year-olds stepping out over this sort of trip for the first time. It's a bit of a guessing game, but on what we've seen so far, the leader will probably come from Dubai Focus or Global Eclipse, who last time I looked was still on the emergencies list. Statuario sat handy last start and has the barrier to do so again. Where are you leaning in the Derby?
I'm actually leaning towards something a little bit longer odds there. American Wolf. Last 3 starts have been pretty solid. Once again, I'm going with the running the distance. It's actually coming back from 2,800 metres into 2,500 metres, which I really like. It's stretched out and had some really good sectionals over the last 600 too. So I'm taking American Wolf in this one. I think it's just going to have a little bit more run against the rest of them. Lining
up with Gio. Let's tip that on whole tickets. I think American Wolf I had as my second pick. Mark Zahra, a really strong rider, suits this horse who probably not blessed with the greatest turn of foot, but is a real sort of dour grinding type who we put into the race early and will keep coming. He'll be hard to shake off. But I'm going with Statuario. Was on at Caulfield, was utterly dominant there, stepping up to 2,400. So he relished the distance rise on that occasion. I don't think the extra 100 metres is going to pull him up. Has the barrier to really put himself into the race early too. I don't think he'll be too far off them. And it's a race where, no disrespect, it is a Group 1, but there's a lot of speed humps in this race. You don't really want to be buried back on the fence looking for runs when the whips are cracking. So I want to see horses that are either up on the pace or potentially, out in the clear, building momentum. Statuario and American Wolf look the two there. A reminder that the World Pool operates on Win and Place, Quinella, Exacta, Duet, Trifecta and First Four. So we mentioned a few there that are, decent odds and probably worth throwing in Quinella's, Exactas and Trifectas.
It's also, just when you thought you couldn't get any more of an autumn carnival, we now head to South Australia for the second weekend and we get 3 pretty good races here. So can't complain whatsoever.
Yep. We've got some nice racing up in Queensland as well. Not much of a break for us punters. Now, we're venturing across the other side of the world to Newmarket in the UK. The Group 1 2,000 guineas over 1,600, a little bit confusing there, but is the feature event set to be run at, I think, 12:35 a.m. Melbourne time. I think so, yes. 3-year-olds only, and the sire of the moment, the boom sire, Wooten Bassett, is very well represented here with 7 runners as we record this. So there might be some scratchings, but some of the main contenders include Field of Gold from the Gosden camp, some pretty high-priced horses going around here, as you'd imagine. Expanded for Aidan O'Brien, the Charlie Appleby pair of Ruling Court and Shadow of Light, and Scarthy Champ for Joseph O'Brien. Getting out to pretty big odds for the rest. Which way are you leaning here in the Newmarket feature?
I am purely going off some chatter that was around Hong Kong from our colleagues from the UK and going with Shadow of Light. I had some pretty strong opinions of it. Apparently, it's been flying and a little bit under the radar too. So it's been pretty solid and no one's really going to pick it up too heavily. So I'm backing Shadow of Light.
I'm following the same form line. I'm going with Expanded, who was just nosed out by Shadow of Light in the Group 1 Dewhurst last start. Prior to that, Expanded won well on debut. There really doesn't look to be anything between them on what we've seen so far, but I'm just siding with the Aidan O'Brien factor. He's won this race 9 times since the year 2000, so I'll back him in to make it 10 this century. He's generally, if you're struggling for a tip, he's probably the default way to go. Aidan O'Brien over there. Thank you. That's us done. Thanks for tuning in. Reminder that the World Pool will be operating on races 6, 7 and 8 at Morphettville. Big fields there, as we've mentioned, so it should be some nice, juicy exotics dividends. We also have the World Pool for all 9 races at Newmarket on 2,000 Guineas Day, with the Group 1 2,000 Guineas early on Sunday morning for Australian punters. Thank you also to the Hong Kong Jockey Club, Bet with the World Pool. And if you're having a bet, do so responsibly. Thank you, Adam. You can go and rest up now after your big trip.
Cheers, mate. Looking forward to it.
Happy punting. What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.